Thanks for coming. My name's Ann McQuarrie, and I'm going to be moderating this forum tonight. Welcome to Sierra Nevada Forum's presentation on aging. Everybody's doing it. Tell me if you're not, and you could tell us all your secret. Tonight we will learn about positive choices and options for healthy aging in a community where elders are engaged, connected, and supported. So why did we choose this topic? Well, I'll just give you a couple of reasons, and I think our presenters will tell you more about it. First, there's the demographics. I will tell you that as of the 2020 census, Carson City senior population was 11,700, and I think some of our presenters will back that up. But second, I have a personal reason. Both my parents spent the last 20 years of their lives in Carson City. They moved here to be closer to me, and I was really glad to be able to spend those last 20 years with them. But also that time gave me the opportunity to know firsthand, very firsthand, the challenges of aging. Now I'm the same age my mom was when she moved here. And I want to stay in Carson City. This is my home. So I have a personal interest in the topic of healthy aging here in Carson City. And I will say I think Carson City gets a lot of things right. Our panelists are here to tell you about some of them. But I will say that our panelists are only a few of the people who are helping to serve elders in Carson City. I just wanted to show you this publication, which gives you an idea of what else is going on here. This is a booklet that's put out. It's Community Resource Guide for Older Adults. I left 10 copies out there, and they're already gone. The Elder Care Program of the First United Methodist Church has been putting this together since 1999. If you want one and you didn't get one of those copies, I did leave some copies of the QR code on the back page, so you could just take that. And then also our other panelists have brought other printed materials. So we have 5 panelists, and each will present for about 10 to 12 minutes. Then after they've all spoken, it will be time for audience questions. We found that it's best if we collect the questions as written questions. So we have volunteers. Here's one of them down here. They're raising their hands. So if you find during the course of any of the presentations, if you have a question, just raise your hand, maybe wave it to get their attention, and they'll collect it from you. Okay, our panelists. Our first panelist is Molly Walt, who is the Executive Director of Nevada Rural Counties Retired and Senior Volunteer Program, more commonly known as RSVP, which provides well-trained volunteers that assist seniors and others in need with life-saving devices, including transportation, companionship, respite care, legal assistance, critical food and medicine delivery, homemaker services, and more. So welcome, Molly.
Yeah. I'm going to come up there. Can I come up there?
Sure.
Well, thank you. Good evening, and thank you for having me, and thank you for having this topic. This is a very important topic because, as Ann mentioned, we are aging, and Carson City does have a large senior population. Most importantly, the population that we service, low-income seniors, but also what we notice is since COVID, a lot of our seniors are extremely lonely. That's what we deal with, is the loneliness, the need for our services, and coming out of COVID, the isolation. A lot of seniors have been apprehensive on doing so, and so we have found that the need for our services has grown, but if you get anything out of me this evening, I'm going to ask for your time. Nevada Rural Counties RSVP program is a retired senior volunteer program. That's how we are 83% grant funded. However, we do need volunteers, and I hope that I pull on your heartstrings this evening to encourage you to volunteer for us as well. So RSVP, I've been CEO of RSVP now for 3.5 years. We just celebrated our 51st anniversary, or we're 50th anniversary. We're on our 51st year. Those of you who know the legendary Janice Ayers, Janice founded the organization 51 years ago. Next slide, please. We are a nonprofit 501c3 organization, like I said, that was founded 51 years ago. Janice started with one county. It grew up to 2 years ago, 15 rural counties. However, we do have one program that is now offered in Washoe and Clark. It's a virtual program, and so now we are servicing all 17 counties in the state of Nevada. Next slide, please. What do we do? One, a lot of our programs, we need volunteerism. We do have 2 programs that are independent contractors. However, our mission is to keep those 55 and above, because we do receive an AmeriCorps grant, so 55 and above is who we encourage to volunteer, because we all know the more active you are, the longer you will live. So we encourage our elders to volunteer when they can as well, to stay active. We have program matching. That's 83% of our funding is grants, and so we do have to match those grants. That's when we do the fundraisers, foundations, and then we seek donations as well. Our reporting is extensive. Those of you up here and know that state, federal, county grants, the reporting can be extremely extensive. But you'll see with our numbers that we have come up with, quite a great system to do so. Next slide. So we have 11 different programs. In the communities in which we are, it really kind of depends on how many of those programs we have. We do have the most programs offered here in Carson City. But like I said, we do have programs and services throughout the state. We have what's called field offices. So we have a fleet of 18 vehicles, paratransit vehicles, and they are located in Carson, Winnemucca, Elko, Ely, Caliente, Pahrump, Winnemucca, Hawthorne, Fernley. We just got a new one to go in Fallon, Douglas, Carson, and I believe that's it. So our transportation program is 2-facet. We have a fleet vehicle where volunteers will drive our fleet, and then they will do wheelchairs as well. And then we have a home companion program where volunteers can drive their personal vehicle and get a mileage reimbursement. We now just increased that mileage reimbursement to 60 cents a mile. Those are, that type of transportation is more of a one-on-one transportation for that. We do go door to door. We do assist our elders outside to get in and out of the vehicles as well. And like I said, paratransit is where we have increased the most in the last 6 months, is transporting those in wheelchairs. We also then have our Home Companion Good Neighbor program. This is where we encourage volunteers to provide that one-on-one. Get to know your neighbor. I mean, who's in your neighborhood, your elders. Go provide them with companionship. Check on them. Play cards with them. Watch movies with them. Read with them. Because, like I said, a lot of our seniors are extremely isolated. They don't have families around. So we encourage the socialization. Those companions will then, bring they have the opportunity to bring that companion to the grocery store, to the senior center, to haircuts, and they become actually quite close, and it is like a family network there as well. We also then partner with our local law enforcement. So what happens is if we know that we have an appointment and we were to meet with the companion or pick up the elder at 2 o'clock and nobody's there, we then wait till 2:15, we call again, 2:30. After that, if we don't hear from them, then we will, I don't know if there's anybody we will then call the law enforcement, and then the MOST team will go and do a wellness check. Our volunteers do not do wellness checks. We then call the MOST team. They'll go and follow up with our client at that point. Next slide, please. We have our respite program. Our respite program is where we go in and we give the caregiver, we provide a respite provider to $18 to $20 an hour. They're independent contractors, and they'll go in and give the caregiver a break. They can do up to 6 to 8 hours a week, and then they will stay with the care recipient and provide a safe environment so the caregiver can then get a break. We have our homemaker program, which is light house cleaning. So that is also $18 to $20 an hour. We then we hire those independent contractors that go in and do the light housekeeping for our clients. There are things that our grant specifies that they have to do. Like, for example, they have to clean the bathrooms, they have to clean the kitchen, they have to empty the garbage, the dusting, the linens. And then most importantly, and I'll emphasize this over and over again, all of our volunteers and independent contractors have to provide companionship. And we are all mandatory reporters. So if they see that something is going wrong in the home, they have to report it to us immediately. So say, for example, we just got a report yesterday. A homemaker went into the house of a client and found 16 dozen eggs in the refrigerator, but all the other food was molded. And so at that point that then tells us that we need to intervene. We don't go in, we don't do the wellness checks, but what we do as mandatory reporters is we then report it to APS, ADSD, the MDT meeting, the MOST team. We then get those resources going to make sure that this client gets the help that they need and the services that they will need as well. Next slide, please. We have our care law program. Laura Miles is our attorney, and she's been with RSVP for over 30 years. She provides pro bono legal services that help our seniors, 60 and older, with end-of-life planning, Medicaid, Medicare as well. Our volunteer stations that's our AmeriCorps grant, and I am so excited that I saw some of our volunteers out here as well. So we have what's called volunteer stations with government entities and nonprofit agencies. So say that if somebody went to AmeriCorps and said, hey, I live in the Carson City area and I want to volunteer, or I live in the White Pine County and I want to volunteer, AmeriCorps will send them to us, and then we will have a list of different places that they can volunteer. What we do there then is volunteerism shouldn't cost the volunteer anything. So in Carson, it's not a big deal, but in the rural counties it is when you have to go from your home to the volunteer station and back again. So we provide a mileage reimbursement for that. And then if they're over 6 hours doing that volunteerism, we can provide them with lunch as well. And then how do they help us? They report their hours to us, and we all know anybody who works has grants, mileage, hours, all of that helps our grants reporting as well. That's our volunteer stations. So in 2023, we had 16 volunteer stations here in Carson City in the Dayton and Lyon County area, and our volunteers volunteered 8,732.5 hours. Yeah. Next slide. Guardian Alert. This is another grant that we get through from ADSD, which is our personal emergency response system. It's our Guardian Alert 911. They're the I've fallen and I can't get up buttons. If you go to Walmart, I think they're $485, $495. We give them to those that need them. We get them for free. They get them for free, and because it is grant funded. And just in the Carson City area, we supplied 58 in this last year. We should be getting a shipment this next week to provide more. So if you know of anybody who could use those buttons, please send them our way and we can get them one of those units, the devices. We also have what's called Lifeline. Lifeline detects a fall and then it will send to the dispatch. It will send the signal to them. It detects the fall. That one is $40 a month, and we just kind of are that third party that installs and maintains those throughout the state. Both units are water resistant, but the Guardian Alert, you do have to be able to speak. You have to be able to press the button and speak and say your address. Farmers market coupons. So this is where Nevada Rural County's RSVP is like the fiscal agent. We get the farmers market coupons from all the farmers markets throughout the state of Nevada. They send them to us, we count them, and then we reimburse the farmers. We work with Department of Agriculture to do this in order to make sure that this coupon program continues. We do distribute the farmers market coupons in Carson City, Wadsworth, Silver Springs, and Fernley. Other than that, other counties then distribute, but again, all of those coupons come back to us so we can give the farmers a reimbursement. The coupons are $50, a value of $50, $5 each. Next slide. Last year, we distributed 551 farmers market coupons just here in Carson City area. All right. We do have the veterans, the VIP program. This is something that was near and dear to Janice's heart. And so what this means is that the veterans get a little bit more of a VIP treatment. We have transportation guidelines. Like, for example, we ask that our clients give us 7 days prior notice to an appointment. We also ask that, they go to Reno on Thursdays only. So those are our guidelines. But for veterans, we kind of, we work with the VA hospital. They may need transportation on a Tuesday, Wednesday. We make that happen. And so that is the VIP program that was near and dear to Janice's heart, so we will continue that as well. We have the Java Music Circle. It is now Java Circle program. It's within our respite grant. What that is it's designed for those who have dementia and Alzheimer's, and it's a music, art, and it's a class that they can kind of come, and what we do is we see a spark when they do have the music class. The caregiver can either stay or go during that time, but mostly the caregivers stay because they see that sparked in their loved one and the engagement that they have within that class. And so that is something that we're getting. We have in Elko, we have it in Humboldt and Nye, and we're working to get it started here again in Carson City. We had it before COVID, but not now. Next slide. And then lastly, this is the program that takes us to 17 counties. This was a program that was established by many people throughout the state of Nevada. It was NEST, Nevada's Ensure Safety Together. We took it over from UNR, and now we have renamed it to Nevada Golden Connection. It's a one-on-one phone calls. And so we might have a volunteer in Las Vegas calling a client in Carson City, which we have several actually. They set up a time, they talk, and so it's that one-on-one personal, and then we have huddles for the volunteers that will come and give us a report on how they're doing. Next slide. These are numbers that we have just to kind of give you an idea of what does RSVP do. Well, RSVP in 2023, 47,269 hours were volunteered. We traveled 338,613 miles. An average volunteered 171 hours with us. We serviced 834 clients with 276 volunteers. Next slide. Carson's, and so in personal vehicles, we did 148,000 miles, and then in our fleet vehicles, we traveled 190,000 miles. Next slide. Carson City, we serviced 323 seniors unduplicated, 61 volunteers, and then the hours shows there. 27 homemaker clients is what we have. We do have a wait list, so if anybody is interested in doing that, we have a wait list of over 50. So please see us on that. Respite, PERS, we did 30. I'm trying to go really fast because my time's running out. Next slide, please. And then this is our Douglas County numbers. And after that, we have our Lyon County numbers. So I just did our Carson City and surrounding areas. So like I said, if there's anything that you take from me tonight, please give the gift of time and come and see us. We are at 2621 Northgate Lane, Suite 6. So I thank you guys for your time. I'm going to ask our program director, Melissa Connors, will be here. Those of you who know me, I have a school board meeting to attend right now. So, but I thank you again.
And she gave us the gift of her time. So thank you, Molly. Our next presenter is William Palmer III, who is on the Executive Council of AARP of Nevada. As you all probably know, AARP is the nation's largest nonprofit, nonpartisan organization dedicated to empowering Americans 50 and older to choose how they live as they age. So, William, go ahead, please.
So hello, like she said, my name is William. As you can tell, I'm not over 55. I've still got another decade for that. Actually, AARP does take anyone over 18, and a good reason for this is we don't want to exclude children or grandchildren that might be a caregiver to come with. We don't want to stick them out in the car, so we do encourage anyone over 18 to join. A few other quick disclaimers about AARP Nevada is we're not a political party and we have nothing to do with the insurance at all. So, knocking that out of the park. Our main mission, especially when it comes to things like this, is healthy body, healthy brain. We want to encourage everyone in our community just to have a healthy lifestyle, whether they're in the biggest cities of Vegas and Reno, or whether they're in Jackpot or Lovelock. So we really try to reach out to all the communities, though, as everyone else can realize, gas prices are pretty high. So we try to limit for the staff, I am a volunteer, our driving time. Sorry, I don't have any fancy slides. I was just told to come up and talk. Didn't even know I could bring slides. So a lot of what we do here in the Northern Nevada, which I am your rep, is education classes and engagement classes. So probably our most popular one is movies for grown-ups. We rent out a movie theater. You may get an early release. You show up, watch a movie, gain some friends, and then head back home. Another one, actually, one of my side hobbies is I'm a dance instructor. I started a dance class in Northern Nevada. It is in Reno, but it's a free class for anyone to attend on the fourth Saturday of every month, and it's to encourage a healthy body. It's encouraging movement. We have shred events. We have educational classes. A lot of the educational classes are around Social Security, Medicare, fraud. We have all these things. I'm primarily the instructor there. My experience comes as a financial planner, so I teach very heavily on fraud, scams, and we do several classes throughout the year. Socializing. The main reason we do this is we want you to all come, get together, meet the people in your community, and just talk. A lot of times we're isolated, especially after COVID. We have these things. We got used to a habit after 2-3 years. And it is so much easier to have someone drop off our groceries than go out and actually speak to people without a face mask, God forbid. But we've noticed that when people are coming to these events, they're smiling, they're happy, they gain a friend. And it may not be going out to lunch anymore, it may be just talking on the phone or using those fancy new devices called cell phones to talk to someone. So we're really encouraging that. We're also looking at volunteerism, as probably everyone else here is. Differences with AARP, I started as a volunteer and they conned me into being on the board. I don't know how they did that. Probably treated me very well, we'll see. And if you're a volunteer for AARP, you can create your own programs here in the North. We just ask you volunteer for a few years to understand how we operate. So I have volunteers here that are starting their own classes. We have wine and paint now. That is a new thing brought together from a volunteer. We now have a retired school teacher that's going to start some classes on how to do better education. And these are all thanks to what AARP is doing in our community. It does not mean drive into Reno or fly into Vegas. We can create it anywhere here in Nevada. And we have the resources and support to encourage you and empower you to create it. So if you want a friends group that wants to do a little bit more, AARP is here to support. If you need private classes to come out and teach your family, all I ask is you expect my day job and you don't have me drive past Winnemucca. Anything past that I can't do in a day, and yeah. We also have several volunteers we're training to help me out with that. If you want to be one of them, we will teach you how to teach. We're also working, and this is new, so I am going to have to read it, Age Tech Collaborative from AARP, also known as CES. One of them, to help encourage healthy brain, is we are offering online classes now to teach you things. It can be anything from learning how to work those silly phones to gardening tips. If you've ever been to an Ollie class, that I've taught there too, it's kind of like that, but it's all online. If you're a caregiver, I am well aware, I'm one too. I know you get your free time at midnight or maybe 1 a.m. And there's not many places available for you to make a phone call to take care of work. So if you want to sit down and learn something because you finally caught that break, AARP is here to support that. If you are interested in advocacy efforts and you are nonpartisan, in this state is purely for senior rights. It is not an agenda. If you're interested in that, and you're able to speak nonpartisan, we are looking for you as well. I do not run that, thank heavens. And a lot of it, like we're saying, is online. It's easy to use. Another thing is called Lotus. What came to mind with that is arthritis or drivability or able to operate small devices. It is a little thing you put on your finger and it pretty much works like a universal remote. And you can turn things on and off, lights, TVs, works within 30 feet. We have all these technologies coming out. If you're not sure where to go for this, you go to AARP and search the state of Nevada. I will be honest, like 2/3 of it's in Las Vegas. I do not expect you to hop on Southwest or United and fly down there. But if you see programs up here, please look into it. We have a calendar. You can see upcoming events. If you want to start one, you can on our website under Nevada, there's some emails, there's some phone numbers. Erin Neff, she's one of our marketing directors. You'll be able to get a hold of her. Justin, he helps me in the north run all these programs. You can reach out to him. Actually, harass him more, please. He's paid to do this. But I'm just trying to encourage that AARP has all these resources, all this knowledge. It's not just the staff. It is our volunteers that have lived the life and walked the walk, that are willing to offer their time to help you and other people here in Northern Nevada. Everything from Verdi to Wendover and from Jackpot to Tonopah is one territory that we're here to encourage and support not only senior health, but the families that are caring for you as well. And I'm going to give my time to probably someone else that wants it more, but you can ask me questions in the end. Thank you.
Thank you, Ellen. Next, we have Lisa. Go ahead.
Dry mouth after that. Thank you.
Next, we have Lisa Pohll and Deborah Soul, Lisa is the outreach coordinator for Connections Carson City. Lisa says she thrives on networking, creating opportunities and connecting people. And Connection Central is an organization that uses personal connection, guided story sharing, and meaningful conversation to help strengthen relationships and enhance health and happiness. So you can either come up here or you could stay there.
I'm going to stay right here.
Good for you. So go ahead.
Awesome. All right. Is this on? Great. Yeah. Okay. So we all have a story to share, and we want to hear it. And after all, our lives are really just this big network of stories over our lifetimes. And these stories, they need to be shared. And that's the heart of Connections, is using face-to-face interaction, guided story sharing, and meaningful conversation to help people find enhanced levels of social connectedness, and as a result, bringing happiness and joy to their lives. It's really kind of that simple. And there's a quote that really resonates with me, that is the shortest distance between two people is a story. And we're at a time when the U.S. Surgeon General in May literally declared loneliness an endemic in our country. And you can go to the next slide. And over 33% of our population claims to feel lonely. Those numbers actually increase as we get a little older. So between 50 and 80-year-olds, it goes up to over half of our population. Amongst our nation's heroes, those numbers climb.
She sneezed.
Bless you. Those numbers climb even more. So amongst women that have served, that's up to 73%. Amongst men, it's down a little bit to about 65%. Loneliness obviously impacts our mental health, but it also greatly impacts our physical health. And people that suffer from loneliness have an increased rate of premature death by 26%. And there's implications for heart disease, for stroke, in terms of increased risks when we're lonely. And this is the kicker for me, is continued feelings of loneliness is the equivalent to smoking 15 cigarettes a day. So loneliness is killing. And so we are at a time that it's more important than ever to connect. There's isolation, there's loneliness for a variety of reasons. So we take that and the statistics of the loneliness and the Surgeon General's report that came out last May. If you haven't read that or seen that, it's really interesting, and you can just Google Surgeon General's loneliness report and you'll be able to find that. But you, what? Oh, next slide. So you couple that with Dr. Robert Waldinger, and for those of you that don't know him or his name, he is with Harvard University, and he and his team of researchers have been involved in the longest running happiness study. And they found that the number one determinant to our happiness as we get older is, it's not exercise, it's not nutrition, although those are very important, good life choices, but the number one determinant as we age that determines our happiness is the quality of our relationships. So it doesn't necessarily mean go out and connect and find as many friends as you can. It's really nurturing those relationships and creating these deep, meaningful connections. And that's at the heart of connections, is really helping people connect face-to-face and learn some skills to nurture meaningful relationships. And you can go to the next slide. We started in Carson City just over a year ago, last February, and we've been expanding rapidly. And we were founded, we're kind of the brainchild of a local businessman named Don Cool, who decided that retirement wasn't quite for him. And he really wanted to give back. So here we are, and we started at the Nashville Social Club over a year ago. We have since moved to the Brewery Arts Center the third Thursday of every month. And we also have several what we call cafe connections that are a little smaller, more intimate gatherings. And I'll get into those formats and some details about those in just one moment. But we have a lot of wonderful testimonials. People come, they're not quite sure what to expect, and they are always very pleasantly surprised. On our website at www.connectioncentral.org, there's some video testimonials. We have a lot more where those came from, but people are genuinely happy. And I'll just read a couple of these. It's warm, it's thought-provoking, it's entertaining, and it's infectious. Connections has given me a willingness to be more open with people, to be more outgoing. At Connections, I get to meet new people and have face-to-face conversations. I love it. It makes me feel good. Coming to Connections makes me feel like I'm not alone. I have things in common with other people. And we have pages and pages of wonderful testimonials. While it's cathartic on a lot of levels, it is not therapy. It's really a place for people to come and really just connect. And I like to call it beyond the chit chat. It is a place where we come and we explore topics and have dialogue about things that we don't necessarily discuss in our day-to-day lives. Next slide. So we, as I mentioned, we got started at Nashville Social Club. We're now at the third Thursday of every month at 5 o'clock at the Brewery Arts Center, which is here, across the street. And this monthly meeting is sort of what we call our flagship gathering. And this format it's an event. It goes from 5 to about 6:30. We have refreshments and food and wine and sodas. And we have a theme every month. Last month, the theme was Love with a capital L. We've had a lot of great themes. And then we have a storyteller that has been lightly coached, and they share a life experience that pertains to that theme. And that's about, 10 to 12 minutes. And then we break off into small groups of 10 to 12 people, and each group has a guide. It's kind of like a facilitator, but we like to call it a guide. And these are guided conversations that really open into some pretty magical conversation. And the goal of the small groups is to have people share their memories, their reflections, their stories, their lived experiences as it relates to the story that they just heard. And man, do we get a lot of amazing conversation, amazing stories. You hear people's stories and it really just brings up a lot of empathy, a lot of compassion for other people. And at the end, we get together for the last 5 minutes or so, and each guide gets up and shares the little bits of wisdom and inspiration that came out of that small group discussion. And it's fascinating with the very same topic, how very different the conversations can go and the directions that they take. So that is our flagship meeting. That is the third Thursday of every month. From that, we evolved into another format we called Cafe Connections. And this is a format whereby we started with 6 participants at Comma Coffee, and that's now grown into 3 gatherings with 10 to 15 plus people. Every Saturday we have 2, and every Tuesday morning we have 1. And we do the Saturday ones at Lake Capitol Cafe and the Tuesday ones at Comma Coffee. And this is where we give the participants in the gathering a choice of what they'd like to talk about. So we have what are called the Connection Question Collection, and we throw out 3 questions and we ask them what they want to talk about or explore that day, and majority rules, and we choose a topic and we talk for about close to an hour and a half. Again, very, very robust dialogue that results in a lot of self-reflection for people. It allows people to view situations from a different lens. It really helps people understand themselves and each other. And most importantly, what we're seeing is people really are listening, and they're taking what they're learning and the bits of inspiration and wisdom into the world with them. And we're getting so many wonderful emails about how we've just opened people up. They look at people when they walk down the street now, and they're willing to go out of their comfort zone to meet new people. So it's been just wonderful. So we collaborate, and we're growing rapidly. And the way that we are growing is that we collaborate with individuals and or organizations that would like to bring connections to life. And we provide the materials, the tools. We do a training for how to guide the conversations. We really provide everything. And then as an organization, or as even an individual, if you want to start one in a coffee shop, or you have an organization where you think it would benefit your patrons or even your staff, there's so many different ways to bring connections meetings to life. And so we have been working with the veterans organizations. We are working with who else?
Various
senior organizations, the Carson City Senior Center. And then we started here in Carson, and we are going to be moving to Reno here very shortly. We're going to be participating in Older Americans Month. So we'll have a couple of gatherings taking place in the Reno area during the month of May. So next slide. I kind of just covered this. This is just a schedule of some of our events for those of you that would like to join us or bring a friend, tell a friend. And everything is on our website. We've also left some flyers on the front table out there. I do have some business cards, happy to provide those as well, but would love you to attend our gatherings, or if you're interested in starting a connections gathering, we're happy to work with you in that regard as well. So, thank you.
Thank you, Lisa. Next, We have Courtney Warner, who's the Executive Director of the Carson City Senior Center. I have a pretty long introduction here about what the Senior Center... Right. Good point. Great minds think alike.
Hello. Hi. Show of hands. Who's been to the Senior Center before? Uh-oh. All right, good. I don't have to tell you a little bit about the stigmas of senior centers. It looks like we've already achieved that accomplishment. But, you know, senior centers commonly are known as, it's not for you. I don't identify going there. I don't play bingo. But what if I told you that only a fraction of the seniors that we serve are playing bingo? We are a very vibrant, exciting place. And I would say that we are continually looking to do better. It doesn't mean that we're not doing amazing things. It means that we're always open to new ideas, to change, and to pivot to where the community needs us to go. Next slide. So our core services, we provide senior nutrition, a place to connect, senior services, and an opportunity to get involved. We are a place predominantly for 60 and over, so hopefully you're here for that, that speech. So next slide. So senior nutrition, we're a service for 60 and over. We serve anywhere between 145 meals on a slow day to over 200 meals every day, Monday through Friday, 11 to 12:30. You've got a sample menu that's up there from a couple weeks ago. I hope you can notice, it might be hard to read, we now offer a choice menu. It was something that we designed years ago. We finally got funding to implement it, and now it's in full stream. So how the choice menu works is we have the entree of the day. We'll pick Monday, chicken mushroom marsala. Let's say you're a vegetarian, you don't like chicken, you're tired of chicken, or you just don't like the meal. You can have a build your own salad bar. What we've learned through COVID, touching things is a no-go, right? So we build it for you as we go. So you go through the service line and you say, I'd like to have a salad. And you can pick and choose from the toppings. We've learned through trial and error, most everybody likes just having the chicken as the base and a bunch of different normal fixings to your salad. It is very robust entree. We celebrate birthdays, holiday-themed meals, and another fun thing we implemented in 2023, you now can take your meal to go. So if you can't eat with us, don't want to eat with us, maybe need to get back to a volunteer opportunity or just on the go, as long as you bring your containers, you can take your meal to go with us. It's a new rule change. We're delighted. Next slide. So here's what choice menu looks like on the upper left. You have it was a soup and sandwich, and then on the upper left, but blown up on the right, that's what the salad looks like. So it's a full plate, it's a healthy option. It can accommodate your dietary preferences, flexibilities, and different choices. We are an active congregate nutrition program. We try to use the terminology on-site lunch. Most people don't know what congregate is. And like I said, we're serving anywhere between 145 to 200 plus a day. We did a huge renovation in 2023. We have all new artwork. We have a new atmosphere. We really work to be friendly and inviting and accommodating. Next slide. We also offer Meals on Wheels. Ever wonder what it looks like to do 600 slices of cake if you order it from Costco? That's what that slide looks like. You can imagine the comments that I got about where's the party. Now the cool thing is I told everybody to come to the party because technically everybody could. If you want to volunteer with us, you can join with us if you're 59 and under. That was just a temporary solution while our kitchen was under construction in 2023. So Meals on Wheels. This is for anyone 60 and over living within the Carson City County limits. And it's for those that have a hard time getting to the senior center, maybe have a hard time with grocery shopping, meal preparation, This is a service that is need-based. It's not for convenience. I do enjoy the calls that I get saying, hey, I'm kind of tired of cooking. Can you deliver it for me? We have a wonderful conversation about the senior center and how the importance of coming to the senior center when you still can. So Meals on Wheels is really for those that are really at risk of going hungry through the challenges in life, the challenges in aging. Next slide. So are you curious how we do it? So this is some pictures of just to show you what Meals on Wheels looks like just for the day. So we're doing 300 to 325 meals a day. Monday through Friday, we deliver a fresh meal. And on weekends and holidays when we're closed, we deliver frozen. So we have specialty vehicles that go out. Just think about it as a refrigerator and an oven on wheels. That's what our vehicles have. So they keep the meal at the proper temperature so it's ready to eat when it's delivered. And we're making 300 to 325 stops with 4 routes delivered by a team of paid drivers. And as much as we're just providing the meal, which is critical, we're providing a friendly check-in. A lot of our participants are living alone. And through our services, we have been able to save lives. Our drivers have come upon medical conditions or different situations, and they've been able to quickly get medical attention to the individual, and we've saved lives. We've found individuals who had fallen in the snow, and they're living alone. They might not have family checking in on them regularly, so Meals on Wheels provides that friendly check-in to make sure everybody is doing okay. I'd also like to note that our meal service, we start at 4:30 in the morning, and we are the unvetted, I guess I've never checked my stats, the largest caterer in Carson, I would say. We do about 150,000 meals within both programs. So I challenge any other restaurant or casino to see their stats and see if they can match what we're doing. And then I'll take it up a notch and ask for their budget. All right, next slide. So important why you're here. We're a place to connect. Like you said, we're a vibrant place. We have several hundred people coming into the center, not just for lunch, but for our programming. And so I just would highlight a few things that we've started. A speaker series, we had Charlie Aboud and we had the former poet laureate speak. Today we had an active and engaging women reading poetry. Last week, for National Consumer Protection Week, we had a series on fraud, which culminated with the Sheriff's Office doing their presentation. Next slide. We have activities galore. Gems and Minerals, Rock Cutting Lab, exercise, card playing, bingo, dance groups, tech help, computer lab, library, you name it. If you want it, we will bring it. And you can see by the pictures, everybody's active, engaged, and involved. Next slide. Also equally important to aging is it's a unique experience, and it's sometimes faced with challenges. Aging is hard. And services are important to help you live a vibrant life. And so the Senior Center is a catch-all in terms of other services that could help you live independently. We help you navigate the sea of resources. It's hard to find what agency does what, how do you reach them, can you reach them? We take that on for you. Our doors are always open. It's something we take pride in. We will give you the time to find the resource. I'm pretty good on Google. I think the hardest thing I've been asked is how to get a marriage license out of Honduras, I think it was. That was a good one. I'm not sure, you know, and we went through some different channels and try to navigate that. But it's just instead of saying, it's not us, we don't do that, I have no idea. That's just something you're not going to hear from the Senior Center is, I have no idea. We're going to help you through that. So our picture's highlighting, we have a Medicare 101 class, an open house. Usually it's right before Medicare open enrollment. I would encourage you to participate, just be informed about Medicare, especially if you're going to be newly enrolled. It's complicated, it's not so easy, and think about it when you were working as well. You would usually participate in open enrollment with your employers. This is the same concept that we provide. We also have a summer fan drive. We're so grateful for Roper's Heating and Cooling, who's always stepped up every year. And I see Jenny is in the audience too, from Harris Harvey's, who's also stepped up and helped us with the fan drive so that we can help the seniors stay cool. We do a Christmas gift program. This past year, it was over 1,000 gifts delivered, mostly to our Meals on Wheels recipients. We also added the clients of the Public Guardian program and some other pockets of groups that are kind of forgotten about during Christmas time. And this is a program that we run kind of, it flies under the radar. Those that know about it, they know about it. And this is all through community gifts, charitable gifts. The donors just step up. We get the individual gift requests. This is not just, let's get some blankets, let's get some socks. It's actually, I want underwear and I want a size medium. I mean, it's very specific with what folks want. We've fulfilled TVs, chairs, various different items that come in, because why not? If we can pair it with a donor who's willing to shop for it, we're happy to fulfill the gift. Next slide. 3 minutes? You're being generous. Okay. Read fast, everybody. So I will just say for you, we do a lot at the center in terms of senior services. These are partnering agencies that are here at the senior center that provide services. So don't feverishly try to write all of this down. Just visit our website, it's all there. You can also ask afterward. But these are just services that, it's a convenient stop at the senior center for services. Just know to call us. All right, next slide. All right, so the other part of living and aging in Carson is to get involved. So at the Senior Center, we have abundance of volunteer opportunities, and these pictures highlight our volunteer appreciation, which we're gearing up to do again here in April. And whatever you can do to volunteer, even if it's not with us. I know RSVP had mentioned it. Connections is asking for volunteers to lead their programs. AARP, there's a lot of volunteer opportunities. It's very beneficial for your health to get involved. I'm biased, you should volunteer for us. So Molly has left, and I will fight Melanie for any volunteers that want to sign up.
Hey, I'm up there, so I'm good with you asking for it.
We get a lot of volunteers for you too. All right, next slide. This month is also our campaign for March for Meals. So if you're able and you believe in us, we always appreciate donations and contributions. It's a tall order to feed as many mouths as we're feeding from Meals on Wheels, and we have a gap in our funding. It's federally funded, but there's always a gap. It's very expensive. We all understand the cost of food right now, and we are not immune to that as well. Meals on Wheels, we're on track to deliver over 100,000 meals this year. So believe in our services. If you can donate, we appreciate it. Next slide. We're thankful and honored for our community champions who have stepped up year over year and supported us. This is also on our website. These are the individuals that are just believe in us and support us in our ability to deliver for Meals on Wheels. All right, next one. We're just going to go fast, I promise, Emery. Could we use more help? Absolutely. Again, we appreciate all of the gifts. Nothing is too small. We have a wait list. It's very hard to put those that are at risk of going hungry on a wait list. The other neat piece of supporting our organization is everything stays local. We're supporting Carson City seniors. We don't go outside of city limits. So all of the donations stay here. Okay, next. So this is the cool stuff. So coming up, what do we have going on? So we have a newly launched Tech Help program. It's easier if you just call us for the schedule because it's volunteer-based. We also have Carson High helping us with Tech Help. So visit us if you have questions about how to do anything tech-related, anything. We also are hosting a history program with David and Gail Woodruff on March 21st. Next slide. We're hosting a new paper crafting class with Sandy Shears, teaching you how to make creative cards and gifts. And our jewelry sale, which is a fundraiser for Meals on Wheels, is April 4th and 5th. Next one. We have a conversation coming up with award-winning cartoonist Brian Crane on April 16th. A poetry reading with one of our regular seniors, Blade Myler. He's also fluent in 3 at least languages and has written poetry. I would like to say that where did these ideas come from? It comes from the community. You ask and we deliver. That's something that we take pride in, that we can help direct ideas, but we really appreciate the community asking, saying, hey, I'd like to have this. And then you'll help us by giving us more feedback than just a concept. Sometimes we need a little bit more meat, and then we can see it happen. Next slide. All right. So what's the future of aging look like? It needs to be accessible, inclusive, equitable. I like it to be innovative, appealing, and exciting. It's got to be meaningful to you. Our programs have to resonate with you. That's just the core foundation. And I think it's important that organizations continue to shift to the conditions that support and invest in healthy aging, because it's going to continue to change. We're going to have different technology and resources come up, but also different needs. And aside from the statistics of the volume, it's just going to look differently. Next slide. All right, that's what we do. We talked about that. Next slide. I'm racing through. So I just would like to part with just a concept, and it's you get to determine the best course to suit your unique lifestyle as you age. If it doesn't exist, let's make it happen. Reach out to us. Reach out and say what you would like to have. Gaps are incredibly meaningful to drive our community to be the best and support healthy aging. Next slide. You can reach us here. Thank you.
Sorry, I hope I wasn't too rude and rushing.
No, I appreciate it.
So we have our final presenter is Dr. Colleen Lyons, who is a member of the Sage Village Exploratory Committee. Sage Village aspires to be a strong, inclusive community of neighbors helping neighbors to live happily in our own homes as we age. Dr. Lyons is also Carson City's health officer, and she has been a resident of Carson City for over 30 years. Do you want to come up here?
And sort of stole and kind of stole my thunder earlier when she said, aging is wonderful. Everyone is doing it, right? So sage, I want to start with a definition of sage. We're not talking about the Nevada State flower, sagebrush. Sage is a mature, venerated elder known for their wisdom and good judgment. So this is about establishing a sage village in Carson City. And to know that a village is not a building. Okay, it's not the senior center down on Beverly Street. Okay, it's a village, it's an intentional community. We'll go to our next slide, please. So just a little bit about demographics. Some of this has already been mentioned. But 1 in 5 Americans is over 65, and that and 1 in 4 of those over 65 is socially isolated. So Connections talked about feeling lonely, but there's also just truly being socially isolated, and you might not even, quote, appreciate that you're, quote, lonely. I mean, you've got the TV and you've got the radio, but 1 in 4 are literally socially isolated. And just to point out again, that's equivalent to smoking 15 cigarettes a day in terms of the health outcomes. What wasn't pointed out earlier is that this increases your risk for Alzheimer's by 50%. So not talking and interacting and doing those facial cues and the body language besides the actual speech, it makes a difference in terms of what kind of stimulus you're getting to your knocker. So 50% increased risk for dementia. The fastest growing segment in this is those over 85. Of those, 40% are living in an assisted living or in an independent living situation. 50% live with a family, that could be a spouse or an adult child or children. And women living alone, this is 2018, 55% of those over 85. I like this graphic on the side here, and these slides, my slides are from the Village to Village network, of which our group is a member. But this graphic on the side that looks like a spire, at the bottom, the very bottom, that's where I was when I was born. I was 2 years old on that bottom bar, okay? The little waist on that spire, that was the Depression-era babies. Okay, obviously fewer of them during the Depression. Below that waistline is all the baby boomers. And the baby boomers had the summer of love in 1967, okay? They had free love and communes. But today, boomers want to stay in their own homes as they age. They want to age in place, in their own place, in their own home. They don't want to be in an assisted living. They want to try to avoid independent living if possible. And that's what the village concept is about. One of the other things I want to point out about this slide on the right is what it's going to look like in 2060. If I live to be 102, I'll be at the top, there on the right, with the majority women outweighing the men. So to the next slide, please. So what is a village? Well, it's an intentional, caring community of engaged, connected, and supported members who decide to come together, establish a community, support each other, be engaged, have some of these connection conversations, utilize some of the resources available in our community, which might include Meals on Wheels for some of us. It's a grassroots membership-driven organization, so what is done isn't decided by what grants are available to provide a service or a benefit, but rather what the members decide they would like to have or that they need. Some of the services that villages have offered throughout the United States include those listed there. The average volunteer is 60 to 70. The average service recipient is 75 years old plus in villages. And it has the same sort of things, social events, groups, health, fitness. Also includes vetted vendor referrals. So if you need a handyman, you need someone to help with the yard work, someone to paint the house, who are those people? You know, you're asking friends and family, but as you age, sometimes you're having fewer friends that you have as a trusted referral base. So that can be one of the benefits. But specifically, benefits of membership are determined by the members, as are the membership fees. This movement got started by boomers in Beacon Hill Village in Massachusetts in 2002. Currently, there are over 300 villages in the United States, and Sage Village tends to be another one here in Carson City. And again, it's not a building, so don't ask me how much the rooms cost. And then I wanted to point out in Carson, someone already mentioned that 12,000 of our 12,000 people of our population are over 65, but 5% of those are over 80 here in Carson. Our next slide. So the village model. The thing to note about this is the center there regarding the heart, that a village is about its members, it's about its volunteers, there's always a board, a council, you know, to help with the nits and grits. And then partners, obviously all these partners at the table with us tonight and many others who are not here with us today. And then having an actual director and staff. We're not going to hire Courtney away from the senior center, but we do hope to have some kind of paid staff to help with the coordination of benefits and services. And also when a person comes to us and they're interested in membership, are we really the right organization and the right village for them to be involved in? I mean, what are their needs, and would those be met over and beyond our capabilities, and we could help provide a referral for them, or is it a good fit? And then, of course, having websites, as does Connections and as does the Senior Center in terms of the events and those kind of things that are happening. One thing I want to point out about the other 4 sections on this slide, health-related, volunteer services, social connections, service referrals, all of that involves transportation. And as we age, this is probably one of our greatest and first needs. We either begin to have trouble with our reflexes, or what happened to my mom, she fell over a shoe in her bedroom and fractured her foot, her right foot, the accelerator foot, the brake foot, and she was in a walking cast for over 6 weeks, and she lives in South Reno, I live here in Carson, and so that was a little tough on the grocery shopping and the appointments, etc. So transportation becomes an issue in all variety of ways as we get older. And I want to point out under the health services aspect that health companion and health advocate, obviously this is going to be defined in different ways by different villages, but I think of that health companion as the second ears at the doctor's appointment, okay, who might be taking notes or asking pertinent questions that you can't think of while you're sitting on the table freezing to death in that little paper thing that they give us. And also maybe hands, you know, hands to help with your wound, your dressing, putting on your shoulder thing, and trying to get what, you know, are you going to go with or without the bra? Currently my mom's without the bra because she's got her hand in a wrist splint, and she just cannot do that with her thumb. The health advocate, who has ever completely understood their explanation of benefits from their health insurance company? Yeah, right.
One.
You raised your hand?
Yeah. Financial planner.
Oh, you're a financial planner, okay. Yeah, okay. So someone to help with those kind of things. You get a denial from your insurance company. You are sick, you're having a problem, you need some help. I mean, God, it's horrible. We do not have a healthcare system. That is another hat that I wear, but not tonight. Under the volunteer and staff, of course, volunteers. I want to put in a plug for volunteering. I don't have the stats on top of my head right now, but we do know that being a volunteer, no matter what kind of volunteer work you're doing, you're interacting with others, you're providing a service, you have a purpose. So a purpose in life is very important too, and it's one of the things that everyone suffers when they go through that retirement. Because retirement is like, what do you do? What's the first question? What do you do? Well, I watch TV. So when we retire, there is that 2-year, you know, finding our next thing, you know, and adapting to not having the alarm clock. That sounds really great, but sometimes that gets to be problematic, not having a purpose. So volunteering gives that purpose, gives that interaction, and has multiple benefits for one's life. And I think that will conclude. I do want to point out that we have the Elder Village one-pager. It's out on the counter, and I want to encourage anyone who has an interest in this and they're thinking, well, that sounds interesting, maybe I'd like to be a member, to fill out our survey. We're also looking, are you interested in becoming a possible member? Do you know someone else? Like if my mom didn't live in South Reno, she'd be one of the first members to sign up, even if I had to pay her a membership fee, which I would gladly. We're not talking about tons of money here. And then what kind of services and benefits would you be interested in? And do you have any skills or talents that you might consider contributing to such an endeavor? And any suggestions for us? So I believe that concludes my section. By the way, I do want to give a little disclaimer. I do happen to be the Carson City Health Officer, but I am not here representing Carson City or the Health Department.
Thank you, Colleen. That concludes our presentation, but I want to remind you that sometimes we get some really good questions, and that's the best, well, not the best, you guys were all great, but it's definitely a wonderful part of these presentations. So do we have any questions that we've gathered so far? While we're doing that, I just want to say a couple more things. I want to remind you all that we have 2 forums coming up in the next couple of months. Tuesday, April 9th, we have The Truth About Carson City Road Funding, straight from the horse's mouth. And on Tuesday, May 14th, we have U.S. infrastructure and IRA dollars, follow the money in Nevada. And then also, Judy wanted me to remind you that we don't get any grant funding or anything like that. All this is based on donations, and I think there's a jar right by the door, just in case you feel generous. So, do we have some questions? And, okay. Is there a program in Carson City that helps seniors with healthcare advocacy, meaning at doctor's appointments, the advocate will help ask pertinent questions, help keep records, and do follow-up if necessary? Colleen was talking about something which might be happening, but it's not here yet. So any other answers for that?
We gotta go close.
Yeah, you do.
I'm performing here. It was actually a conversation that we had with a volunteer that's interested in providing this type of service, but it doesn't exist. And it's something that is a need, something we run into a lot in individuals who are single. And it can be as simple as, I'm going in for a colonoscopy and I need somebody to sign me out from the procedure. It gets a little complicated. And so that is something that has our wheels spinning of trying to find a solution for it.
Anybody else? Thank you. I think this is for you too. Oh, Colleen, go ahead.
Sorry, I forgot to mention in my presentation that an elder village is more for the middle income versus a lot of services that are provided for low income and that you have to qualify for based on whatever federal poverty level they happen to cut at. So a village is a membership. So sometimes some members will sponsor another member, or you can set up a village where there are benefactor levels of membership that help support others who can't necessarily afford that. Some villages do get into the whole grant writing process to help provide other services to less financially fortunate.
Thank you. This one I think is for you again. No, not Colleen. Courtney. What classes are offered? Do you teach computer classes? And is there a financial requirement for lunch?
Okay. I'm not going to go through all of our classes because, holy cow, I'll keep you here forever. Computer classes, we're doing them on a one-on-one basis right now because we've learned that everybody has a different starting point. We actually had a conversation with the Carson High students about teaching maybe some concept classes. What is TikTok? What is some of the social media part? But we're not going to teach you how to do the TikTok. Maybe later, but you know, the concept of it. So if you do need a computer class, let's say you want to write something in Word, come to our tech help and they can show you. You can bring your laptop if you have one, a tablet, or use one of our computers in our computer lab and they will show you one-on-one. It's just better that way. But if you do have a concept, you want it in a group session, we can entertain it if we think it's feasible. But we've just learned people are learning at a different pace. One-on-one works better.
And then a fee for lunch.
Lunches are like $2.50, right?
$2.25. Somebody else said it right. But there's no income requirement for the senior nutrition program. The requirement is that you need to be 60 and over. If you are 59 and under, come see us. You can volunteer with us. Then I can give you a lunch. So those are the ways that we work around our good old grant rules. But there's no income criteria for that program, just age. We ask for a suggested donation, but it's not required. It's just a little drop box.
Did you want to add something?
AARP does offer tech programs. The worst part about saying that is they're all online, so you at least got to be able to do that. But they're self-paced, and we do have some volunteers that are able to help walk you through it. It's not a Nevada-only program. That one we do run through all 50 states.
Thank you.
So that means anytime, day or night.
Okay, I just have to add to that. My mother is a wonderful, intelligent woman, 89, continues to drive. She's going to turn 90 in August. She pays all her own bills, etc. But when my brother said, well, I could give her my handy-down smartphone, I said, yeah, and you can show her how to use it. That was the end of that.
I have a couple of questions for Connections. First, what's the theme this month? You could just grab the other one on the table if you want.
Here, I'll let you get to it.
The theme for Connections this month at the Brewery Arts Center is giving. And it is going to be an extravagant event, shall I say.
And then I have another question for Connections. Well, actually, this is 3 questions. First, do you know what the average age of the members is or attendees?
We get participants of all ages, to be quite honest with you. A significant percentage of our audience, of our participants, are in fact people, I would say, over the age of 50, but they come from all walks of life, a really broad cross-section of people. But we also have, at both Cafe Connections and the Brewery Arts Center, young people, people raising families, and I think one of the reasons that our meetings, our get-togethers are so popular is because it is a cross-section of people and you get to have a conversation with people beyond your own friendship circle and people from all walks of life.
Thank you. This will be an interesting answer. No, before that one, is there a cost?
There is no cost.
Okay. And then the third one is, do you have a moderator to eliminate long-winded members?
Yes, that is in fact probably one of the most important aspects of Connections is that it's always a guided conversation. So whether it's a big Brewery Arts Center event where we've got lots of small groups, every single group has a guide or a facilitator who is trained. And similarly in our Cafe Connections, which are really popular, there's always a facilitator or a guide. And that just really helps keep the topic focused. It ensures that everyone has an opportunity to contribute and that it stays positive. And we always we make it clear that we stay away from politics and religion. Because that means it's a pretty invigorating conversation without conflict.
Thank you.
We also exclude sports teams?
No, we include them.
Okay.
Well, I think that's all the questions. I just want to say one thing that I think Colleen didn't emphasize enough is that she does have a whole handful of surveys out there right outside of this door. And this is really the first kind of public event that Sage Village has taken part in. And they don't really know if it's going to fly or not. So if you have a few spare minutes, they would really like to hear your ideas on Sage Village. Anybody else have any concluding remarks? I would like to say that it was a fascinating panel, and I really appreciate you all coming. Thank you. And thank you all for coming too.